Hey guys, Eric, Roth, and Joshua here. We're talking about all this Marvel news that came out today. They announced all these movies. One of the ones they saved for last, because it's coming out quite a while from now, November 2nd, 2018, Inhumans. Yes, it is actually happening as a film.
I think that they saved that for last for that reason. It's quite a while from now, but also, I feel like probably general public-wise, least familiar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not, I mean, they're very obscure if you're not a Marvel Comics fan. And it's going to take some time, and I think they want to use that time to build up towards it.
They're very smart about the way that they do that.
It's a group of superpowered people. It's another teen movie, and you called it. The people. It's their way to do the X-Men because they don't have the film rights to do the X-Men.
Yeah, everyone's been. We've been talking about this for a while because we knew that this was a possibility. And look, they're not getting the X-Men movie rights back anytime soon. There's rumors that them and Sony could make a deal over Spider-Man. If Fantastic Four bombs, maybe they could get that back. X-Men's staying at Fox. It's a hit franchise.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of talk that how do they do the X-Men without the X-Men? This could be their way in.
Yeah.
And it's possible, I mean, one of the other things that we've been speculating about is that they're already seeding it in because they, Kevin Feige has often said that he has a map in his office, this mystical map that has the plan for the next 20 years, but I sort of believe him,
right.
And I feel like potential characters that could be introducing them, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, maybe, are they Inhumans?
Because they can't be mutants, just
No,
to
they
clarify.
cannot.
Yeah.
So they could be Inhumans. That's a great theory
Yeah.
we'll see Avengers 2 first, but that could be how they work it in. And the fact that they're seeding it through in terms of Marvel comic books, they've been really pushing the Inhumans and try and make them a thing. The comic's not that great. It's cool. But it's not it's not the best they possibly. It's not the best comic they're putting out right now. So, but they have these thing called the Terrigen mists that transform people and they activate latent genes that turn you into a superpowered person. Then they live in this blue area of the moon, which is
as you do.
A breathing area of the moon, which is really weird. And they're also a monarchy. So the space monarchy X-Men folk people. So it's really weird. They have a teleporting dog.
Yeah.
Lockjaw.
It sounds like a Marvel movie.
The main character doesn't talk, Black Bolt.
It is fun to see how they're going to deal with all that.
So also weird stuff is going on. But like I said, in the comic books, there was this huge event called Infinity that involved Thanos and the Avengers going into space and stuff. Sound a little familiar,
right?
And the Inhumans were a big part of that. If the comics are sort of leading into the movies, then that's very clear.
And this is
right there.
And we should say this is the last movie before Avengers: Infinity War Part 2.
Right.
So
you have to imagine that they're going to then play a role. I mean, they're going to have everybody in this war. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to imagine too that probably they're going to kind of ground them. They will probably have that element to them or some kind of galactic, because at this point anything is open, right?
Yeah.
The whole universe is open to us in this world. But you have to imagine too that they are going to ground things here on Earth as well.
Yeah.
And seed things along and get people used to the idea.
Yeah, I think, Feige directly said they're going to be using the upcoming movies to seed Inhuman stuff. They're going to have 7 movies, I think, before, actually more than that. And so I think that what you're going to see is, because there's a lot of Inhumans, we're gonna meet some of these characters beforehand.
If we haven't already.
Yeah, if we haven't already. Let's talk about if they haven't already, because we were speculating. We did a separate conversation about Captain Marvel and all the talk about could they use S.H.I.E.L.D. as sort of a way to set it up. There's been Skye is such a funny character on S.H.I.E.L.D. because they haven't revealed her past, but there's
she
the
could
Inhuman
be an
theory.
Inhuman. I mean, we talked about this, I think, 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Speculating that maybe that's what she is and that's her big secret and that's one of the ways that they're using to see this in. I wish people would start watching S.H.I.E.L.D. more because I think that things are going on there that will play into the movies in a larger sense. Not just the reverse. It's not just going to be the show being affected by the movie, but the show now affecting the films as well.
Yeah. And
informing, I shouldn't say.
I think so too. You'll see it tied in. And what we were talking about with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, I think it makes a lot of sense because you could even say that, if everyone died but them at the end of Cap 2 that got the experiment, well, it's because they were, latent Inhumans.
Yes, activating that Inhuman gene.
Yeah.
Such a weird concept. I can't wait to see how they do it and adapt it.
But they are already kind of seeding the idea of playing with the DNA in that way, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the Age of Miracles is all about to some degree.
Mm-hmm. And Quicksilver in the comics did marry an Inhuman.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
so I don't think it's a huge thing to be like, what if he just was an Inhuman? Yeah. So this is kind of an interesting one because I think we have a lot of questions about
this
Inhumans.
one.
Yeah.
I'm really just looking forward to seeing how they set it up. Are we gonna in the comics they sort of get when your gene gets activated, you form into this giant cocoon thing, then burst out of it with superpowers, and sometimes it gets really nasty. So I just want to see that happen and post-credit scene or something. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and you, Roth?
I mean, I think it's exciting whenever they take on what feels like a big challenge, you know, when you're sort of like, how are you going to pull this off? Because it's exciting to see how they do. So I'm just curious to see how it all unfolds and if we've gotten any of this right so far.
Oh, I want to throw in one more thing. There's a rumor that Vin Diesel might be Black Bolt. I'm so on board for that.
Vin Diesel, but we wouldn't hear the Vin Diesel voice.
Yeah, unless he usually speaks one word, but when he speaks, it like shatters a mountain because it's so powerful.
So all he's ever allowed to do in Marvel movies is speak.
He's been downgraded to
Yes.
one
One
word.
word man.
Oh my God.
From 3 to 1.
One word Vin.
And I think, but what you were saying though, you know, Inhumans definitely, again, shades of X-Men. There are some of them that look grotesque,
Yeah.
some of them that look beautiful, and so it'll be Marvel's way of being like, let's have this whole other society, much like X-Men, but a different twist on it.
But on the moon.
But on the moon. So for plenty more on Inhumans, well, we've got 4 years to talk about this sucker. Plenty more on Marvel. Keep it here at IGN.